Hey everyone, so I figured I'd jump on. It's Sunday night, getting ready for next week. I thought I'd jump on and just do kind of live stream on pricing your window cleaning services. So it's a question that's asked a lot. How do you price, commercial? How do you price residential? Are you charging per window? Are you charging per job, hourly? There's a ton of different ways that you can charge. What I'm going to go through is kind of what I've done from the beginning and it's kind of where we are now and why we've kind of changed to what we're doing now. But there's a few different models that you can go by. And I made a couple short videos on pricing and like walk arounds of houses showing kind of like how we count windows. And there isn't necessarily a right or wrong way to do it, but you definitely want to make sure you're consistent, you're profitable, and it's something that you can easily train somebody else to do because you don't want to be quoting windows your entire career. You kind of want to be able to hand that off to somebody and work on scaling your business. So I'm going to bring up Google Maps and we'll just go to a random neighborhood. And so in the beginning, when I first started window cleaning, I watched a couple of the classics, Devo the window cleaner, Luke the window cleaner, and they were pricing per window. So they sometimes show how to count windows, but also like a lot of the guys were very vague on pricing. I don't know if they didn't want to be public about it in case customers saw it or something, but it was per window. And I started per window at $8 for inside and out and $5 for outside only. That quickly went up once I kind of figured out the pricing and kind of like the time it was taking and as our schedule was filling, I raised prices. So I'll open this up here. And so pricing per window is totally okay. I think all those door-to-door people do per window pricing, and it works. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like in terms of counting windows. We'll just do some street view stuff. But yeah, if you want to go to every house and count windows, totally fine. We went up to about $12 per window, and you can go a certain price for if it's one floor, like rancher style homes, you could do like $10. The second floor would be $12 per window. Third floor, $13. Because ladder work is harder. Having to take a ladder out, using a pole, all these things take time. So obviously, charge more for that. But let's see. Find a neighborhood. Too many trees. Okay, so I want to try to find somewhere we can. I guess we don't really need to see the whole house, but so looking at a place like this, now pricing per window. Actually, let's go to this guy over here. Pricing per window, it's up to you on what a window pane is, because obviously, this window here is a lot bigger than that little one there. So are you going to go around and count all these as one window and charge $1 per side? Or are you going to count this whole 6 square as one window and charge $6? You have to come up with something, and I'll talk about why in a little bit on why we moved away from per window pricing, right? And then you have these windows, right? Those are small, these are big. And so if we go down the road, and here's another good example. Is this one window, right? I would usually count it as 2 windows. So the way to think about it is, can you mop and squeegee this in one go without resetting your ladder or having to remop it? Those types of things will determine like a per window. Sliding doors, always 2 windows. or 2 panes, should I say. But then when you get to stuff like this, the reason why we moved away from per window is people would count this as one window. Sometimes if there isn't the framing in between, it's just one big bay window, people would count it as one window, when technically it isn't in our mind. These are kind of some weird looking houses. Let's go. Here. These places. So here's some good examples. You know, this technically is 6 windows. So, and sometimes homeowners, if you tell them to count windows for you, they'll count this as one window, right? So that would be 6 windows technically. I probably would count these each as one, these 2 as one. That probably depends on how accessible they are as well. Same with something like this. If they're small, I count 2 small ones, or sometimes 3 small ones as one. So I'd be like 1 window, 2, 3, 4, and then top would be 5. So that's kind of per window. Deck panes is one window. When you have little peaks like this, I usually count the 2 little ones as one window, the middle one as one window, and each one of those as one window. So you just go, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an example here, like these would be one window. And that's where the pane thing kind of gets confusing. But like 1 window, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 windows there. A lot of development in this area. So here's another one. See, some people count this as one window, when technically there's 3 windows. Some might count it as 4, but technically it's kind of 3 windows, 4 windows, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I might count that just as 1, 16. It's easy. They're little. Unless that goes into a well, which I think it does, then that would be 3 windows. Usually if a house has the little French panes, that's a different charge. We charge $1 per side. So there's 8 little panes for it. I think we do $1 or $2 per pane. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Little window, one whole window, window. Again, I would count 1 window and up there, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. These are the worst when you have these upper small windows like this. It's just super annoying. You have to have a small squeegee to carry it with you inside and out. You know, it just adds up so much time having to do these little guys. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'd probably count this as 6 windows. But again, some might count these French panes individually. So it'd be like 3 windows at the $10 or $11, and then you would do, say, $2 for each one of these. Because you really learn you have to charge worthwhile for these small ones, especially with all those windows, because it is very time consuming. A lot of detail work to make sure you don't leave streaks and drips, and they're just a real pain. So looking at this, the pros is, one, you're in person most of the time to do these types of quotes. because you can't see around the back of most places on Street View. Where I lived, we didn't have Street View in our town, so you couldn't do it at all. But yeah, in person, or they have to take pictures. But in-person quoting is good because you can upsell gutter cleaning, gutter brightening, pressure washing, house washing, screen washing. You can really build the relationship and probably get a higher close percentage quoting in person. But where the drawback is you have to quote in person. So if you're a solo operator, quoting in person isn't always the easiest thing to do. You might be spending your evenings quoting and working all day. And as you could see just from me looking at these different houses, it's hard to give a strict template on what a window is. We tried doing, because we used a booking koala for a bit, and you could build a booking template. So it'd be like 3x3 to 6x6, or reduced measurements, but nobody knows their size of their windows. And we'd have a picture, medium window, small window, large window, and they could pick like that. But again, people would count a sliding door as one window. There's one house, every window was 3 large bay windows. So he counted 10 windows, and really there was like 34 windows. So it went from like a $150 job to like a $500 job because they don't know how to count. And like we technically don't know how to count because there isn't a strict template on what a window pane is that you can really give the customer. So what I did over the phone was count your window panes, times it by 10, and that'll give you a pretty good idea on what the price will be. But we will walk around together when we get there and give you the accurate pricing before we begin, just to make sure we're on the same page. So as long as you do something like that, most people are pretty okay. And so, again, pros, you can do upselling, which is nice. The downfall, yeah, it's hard to train somebody to do accurate quoting this way, especially with virtual assistants and over the phone type stuff. If you're doing door to door, it's a different story. You're just kind of, a lot of those guys are just doing a water fed pole, and so they are just looking at their time more so than anything else. How quickly can I wash these windows outside? And then they charge, I think they just probably do hourly. And so what we do now for pricing is we charge per square foot. And so what this has done is it has made us be able to completely quote remotely and not ever really have to quote in person. We have things that trigger quote in person. That's for like larger homes, like over 4,000 square feet, multi stories, like 4 stories and bigger. Any commercial job is a quote in person. And so I can kind of show you what that looks like. So we use Responsibid to price your software. It took us a little while to commit to it, but it has been an absolute game changer in the way that we quote. My virtual assistant now can completely quote over the phone, or like the questions we have in our form, we have in our online ads. And so as soon as somebody fills out that form, we have their information. We can fill out a quote and get it to them right away without having to get any more details. So I'll kind of show you what we go off of. So we do square footage. Our basic package is 5 cents a square foot. Deluxe is 6 cents a square foot, and premium is 9 cents a square foot. We did just drop our prices to try to bulk up our schedule. But again, there's other factors that come into this that aren't visible here. So things get added on when there's ladder work. So 1 story, there's a basement. So this would be a walkout basement, which then means the backside could be a 2-story. 2-story windows adds percentages to the initial price. And then do they have deck glass per pane? Do you have French windows, as I was talking about? So we were doing $2 and $4 for inside and out. So $2 a side. Additional details, do you have hard water stains? We have a lot of hard water in one of our service areas. The post-construction. And do you have windows that have excessive paint? This is just on a few individual panes. When was the last time they were cleaned? And then what type of home is it? Because actually we were getting a lot of declined quotes because they would only be in a townhouse. They'd have like 4 windows. but it would be 1,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet, 2,000 square feet, but half the wall is attached to another house. The front is the door, so we've added this question. So it's always changing. I'm trying to get the most accurate pricing we can with this form. And so once this is filled out, we have an accurate pricing for all of our packages based on the information they gave us. It has been the best thing we've ever done. Plus, with the packages that we can upsell with it, the software pays for itself. If you want to try Responsibid, I did share my link. It's in our about page on our YouTube channel. Give it a try. The guys are great, very responsive. You can jump in the chat here and get them to add a question for you, and they do it within the day. So it's awesome. But this has made it where I don't have to quote in person anymore. I honestly, well, because of a virtual assistant, I don't answer the phone, I don't take quotes, I don't do pricing, I don't do scheduling. I'll do a video on scheduling with Responsibid in the future. It's a whole nother awesome feature. But I would highly recommend moving towards the square footage price for those reasons, that you can quote over the phone. You don't have to go in person, especially if you're trying to run a company with staff. You can easily train somebody to fill out a form for you. So if I go to my website, let me go instant quote. Window cleaning, click their information, 1 story, walk-up basement, square footage, and the questions. And these are questions that you can pick and choose, create your own. We are always editing it as we find different things to help really dial in the pricing. Things like we added the deck glass question, we added French panes because they got super out of hand. We just added this one. And as you saw before, it has pricing attached to it. And so I'd highly recommend getting something like this in place if you're, above $200,000 a year in annual revenue, and wanting a virtual assistant. This is going to be a game changer for them to be able to do this part of your business without you always having to clarify, approve, and double check their pricing. Something like this. So I think that kind of throughout the years, and again, we started at per pane at $8 for inside and out, and now we were doing $12 inside and out and $10 for outside only, and then adding screen washing for $2 a screen if they wanted that done. Our square footage price, we include screen washing to be a little bit of a differentiator from us to everybody else. And then now, like I said, we've moved to square footage based pricing with additional questions to help kind of make the quoting a little more accurate. So if you have any questions on pricing for window cleaning, put in the comments below. We do have in that about page as well as the window cleaning community, looking to really grow that and have it just hyper focused on window cleaning. I know there's a lot of pressure washing communities out there, not a whole lot specifically for windows. It's totally free. There's a course in there for free. We do automations, email campaigns. We have Facebook ads in there. We give you our Facebook ad that we run. We're giving you our fall campaigns and all that. So jump in there, say what you're doing. We have stuff on Waterfed Poll. I'd love to meet you guys. Put any questions in the comments about pricing, and I'll be sure to jump in and answer anything I can. Thanks for tuning in.